440 or 400, think of them each as an opportunity to get found on Google. Most people put all the good stuff on the homepage and then everything else gets a little bit dull. Alternatively, people hide all the good stuff at the back and put nothing on the homepage apart from a beautiful photograph. There's a couple of photographers in the group. Your photographers, they are absolutely gorgeous, but Google doesn't read pictures, it only reads words, which we'll come on to. Keywords, it is the only game in town. It was the only game in town for Google back in 1998, and nothing really has changed in the last 22 years. Google looks at keywords. And so Wix sites are a little bit troublesome. WordPress sites are very strong because they're based on keywords. But one of the first things that people tend to forget is, what do you want to get found for? Now, there used to be something called the Google Keyword Tool or the Google Keyword Planner, which everyone had access to. And then they took it back, like they took back their ball and they didn't want to play anymore. But just to give you an idea, that one of the key is finding out what you want to be found for. It doesn't matter what you think, it only matters what you know. And so just a couple of examples. One of the first things that Google looks at is the domain name. So for example, if I put networking group Israel, it's going to go through every web page that's indexed, not every website, every web page that's indexed, looking for networking group Israel. That's what it's looking for, those three components. So if Helena's website says Israeli networking group, it's a different thing, it's a different search term. So the important thing is that Helena's done her research and she checks out what people are actually looking for. Because if 100 people are looking for Israeli networking group, and 100,000 people are looking for networking group Israel, then she needs to bear that in mind. The first thing Google looks at is your domain name. So if you're starting your website tomorrow, put in what you do in your domain name. Don't do mymustard.co.uk like I did. It's a waste of time. If you're a lawyer, say that you're a lawyer. If you're a photographer, say that you do photography. It's really important to get the keyword in. Don't undo it. If you're there, we know the battle has been fought and won. Fought and lost, but if you've got a new website coming, it's certainly worth having a think about. Just to give you some ideas, Accountants Hemel Hempstead, which is the town that I work in, Accountants Hemel Hempstead, 320 people last month in the UK searched for Accountants Hemel Hempstead. 170 people searched for Accountant Hemel Hempstead. So when we're looking for a selection to choose from, as a rule, we look for a plural. So when you think about all the websites that have got the words Accountant Hemel Hempstead, we're a well-established accountant firm in Hemel Hempstead. They're only reaching 170 people maximum. Whereas if they weave in the words Accountants Hemel Hempstead, there's a bigger market for them to get to. Google is not the only game in town, but it is the best game in town to get you found by the people that are searching for you. When I first started, I thought, I'm a digital marketing agency. Oh, my mum will be proud. And there were 8,100 people searching a month. And I thought, that sounds about right. And actually what I ended up thinking was, that's going to give me a tiny sliver of a big pie. I'm going to have to be more competitive. I'm going to have to be a bit more aggressive with it. So in the end, I chose something much, much more niche, which was Google AdWords agencies. And at the time, there was 24 searches, and now there's 73. So I did all of my optimization on my site, on my social media, on my emails, anything of my digital footprint. I always make sure I went for Google AdWords agencies because it was a very small pie, but I had the whole bit of it. So rather than having a tiny sliver of a big pie, I had more of a cupcake, the whole thing. I think it's quite interesting how people search, because if we said today, there are 2 or 3 of you that are photographers and 2 or 3 of you that are lawyers, and now you said, I'm a lawyer, I'm a photographer. And what people search for is what you do, not necessarily who you are. So again, this is the stats for the UK, sorry, for my area last month. 590 people searched for interior design. A quarter of those people, in terms of numbers, look for an interior designer. And that's backed up by a variety of different things. I was working with somebody recently who's an osteopath, and he said, oh, I want to be found when someone puts in osteopath. And so we started looking, and I'm not going to do it justice, plantar fasciitis, which is policeman's foot. It's a really painful foot condition, apparently. 135,000 people in Hertfordshire looked for that last month. 60,000 people looked for the osteopath. and 4,400 people look for the shockwave therapy, which is the treatment he's offering to help you if you have got plantar fasciitis. So when he's making some decisions on getting his page right, he needs to bear this in mind. If he just puts osteopath, 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 he's going to miss out. If he just puts plantar fasciitis, he's going to miss out. But if he puts shockwave therapy and osteopath and plantar fasciitis, can't believe I've said that 3 times now without spitting. Is that making sense? Because we often look for the problem, then we look for the solution, and thirdly, we sometimes look for the person that offers us that solution. So knowing these things is really useful. And like I say, it's called the Keyword Planner, and it's part of the AdWords. So if anybody wants any help on it, just drop me a line. I'll drop my email at the end. Please, by all means, get in touch. It's a 2-minute job for me. I can look up what you do in your area and give you some ideas and some pointers on keyword size audiences. Social care courses. This made me smile because someone said nobody's looking for what I do, but people are more sophisticated. On average now, when we Google, we put in 7 words because we know the internet is a big old thing, and so we're much more sophisticated about how we search. And health and social care level 3, people want that course. They really want that course, 40 of them. They don't look for social care courses. The other big game changer in terms of Google is Google voice search. So anybody use Siri or Alexa or OK Google? And we talk because we talk to them like they're real people. We don't talk to them like we used to type in. So have a little look about what people are using in terms of voice search. This is called a Google, this is called a page title, the blue bit here, Saturday Night Live, NBC.com. You've all got one of these on Google for each of the pages on your website. And you've also got where it's got the black bit here, watch videos, the Emmy Award comedy show, Saturday Night Live. One's called a page title, one's called a page description, or sometimes they're called meta title, meta description. You have control of these. This is as geeky as it gets, I promise. You have control of these, and we rarely look at how our website looks on the internet. We're either looking at the competition or we're deep in our own site. So when you have a moment, have a little look how Google sees you. And most people haven't got the right keyword in their page title or their page description. If somebody built your website for you, they can help you. If you built your own website, you can go into WordPress or whatever you've used and look for SEO or look for meta titles and meta descriptions, and you can add them. It will help. Control F, this is my favorite learning. Someone said, oh, why don't you use Control F? This was about 10 years ago. And I said, Control what? Say again? Oh my God. The same way somebody said to me once, why don't you use the undo button on Excel? Now, I was self-taught at Excel and I didn't know there was such a thing. I was like, I've spent years of my life without knowing there's an undo button. Control F brings up a little search bar. It's the Control Find. And this will come in handy because the 4th thing Google looks for. So if I put in Networking Group Israel, it's looked for domain names, it's looked for page titles, it's looked for page descriptions. The next thing it's looking for is the content on the page that us human beings can see. So if you do Control F, example here, I've done the Control F on one of a client of ours, and their keyword is financial management. So they've got financial management software here, they've got financial data just underneath, and then they've got financial management software again. So actually they want to be found for financial management software that only appears twice. And the way I found that out is by doing Control F, typing it in the search bar, and you can see on a document how well optimized each individual page is rather than you having to count manually. This, my friends, ladies, some of you might know, this is a Mulberry Bayswater. This is an iconic piece of body furniture. I really want this handbag. I can't afford it. It's an obscene amount of money, but I often save the pictures, leave it around the house and the office in a hint to those who have got more budget than I do. And so I save it. And when you often do it, particularly this is interesting for the photographers, when you do a right mouse click and save something, it's got a name. Now, we don't read it often, but Google absolutely does. So this is the Mulberry Bayswater on Net-a-Porter, a fairly big brand, I think we'll agree. And it's called 7849399692. It would have served them well had it been called Mulberry Bayswater Black and the price, because Google's reading it when it's searching. So on Helena's site, for example, if she has the website pictures, the pictures have to describe accurately because they're used by people that are visually impaired. So it needs to say what it is. But if there's a picture on Helena's site of people shaking hands at a networking scene, it should say people shaking hands, but there's nothing to stop saying Israeli networking group after it, because Google's reading it when it's looking through. Google doesn't like three things. It doesn't like broken links on your website. So you might have got a link to somebody else's website, their website's down, you get punished. The easiest way to check is just once a month, a bit of housekeeping. Google Broken Link Checker. It's a free tool. Pop in your domain name and it will tell you if you've got any broken links. It doesn't like slow sites. And we've all done it when you've got that ball of death and you're going round and round and round. And sometimes it can take 3 seconds and we're gone. We're history, we're out of there, we're boring. Again, there's a free tool. If you type in page load speed, put in your domain name, it will tell you how quick you are compared to everybody else on the internet. And the biggest game in town, bear in mind that Google announced in 2015, which is now 5 years ago, that mobile sites were going to be, there's a lot of mobile first. People were saying you have to have a website that's mobile friendly, but I'm sure you've done it too. You sometimes look on one of these and you have to do this, and you are not in a buying frame of mind any longer. So easy to check. If you Google mobile friendly tests, put in your domain name, check that you're mobile friendly. I have my website, my current website is 4 years old, so we've got a new one coming. But this is my homepage. Yes, it's insanity. Don't do as I do, do as I say. You can't see any of the keywords. But I wanted it to be replicated, obviously in mobile format, but that wouldn't have worked. So this is how my mobile version looks, because it has to legislate for a fat finger having white space around so everyone knows what they're going to do. But it's reflected, my navigation bar on the desktop is reflected in a mobile version. Very interesting. And how many times do people do scroll? Apparently this is called a boomer scroll. My young apprentice told me recently, because anybody under the age of 25 does this with their thumbs, but us elderlies do this with a boomer scroll. But there's a certain amount of how much scrolling is something one person willing to do. Google Analytics. If you haven't got Google Analytics in your site and you do, it's the only thing you do from this 20-minute chat, please get Google Analytics in your site. Free piece of code, adds to every page, and it will tell you what people are doing when they get to your site. Those of you that have got Google Analytics, again, it's free of charge. If those of you have got analytics, have you taken your own behavior out? Because that's worth doing. It's very straightforward. You go to admin, filter, and you filter out your own IP address, because you are throwing your own stats. Yes, it will be a bit disappointing when you realize it's only you and your mum that are looking at your website, but actually the length of time on site goes up, and it's just, it's just more accurate data. Send yourself a report once a month, nice and worry. You don't have to go, I wonder how I'm getting on with analytics. Nice and straightforward, but again, happy to help if I can. Google My Business. Now, I don't know how prevalent that is in Israel, Helena, because it's a big game changer in the UK these days. Yeah, one of those in these days. So if you type in, you have to type in a location. So if you typed in networking and then you put in your postcode or the area of where you are, Google My Business, it always looks like this. It used to be Google Maps, Google Local, Google Regional. It rechanges its name, but fundamentally it's based on a pinpoint marker of where you are logistically. So if any of you got an office, the lawyers, for example, if you've got an office, you need to bear in mind this. Bear this in mind rather. So up to about 2 years ago, it took up less than a quarter of the Google homepage. Now it takes up 40%. And Google generally, if it's going to charge something, it gives it more prevalence. So look out for that little marker. Used to look like this with listings. But what it does now, it houses all of your Google reviews. And that's why one of the reasons it's so key now. So this is Palette Force, a global brand that one of our networking colleagues, Helena and our networking colleagues, introduced me to. And I was doing a presentation. I thought, oh, lovely, I'll have a little read. I don't know if you guys can see it. Palette Force, global brand, multi-billion-pound organisation, logistics all over the world. The reviews, Burton staff, helpful, shunters good, and helpful, dock workers quick and accurate. That's good, isn't it? Second review, bloody awesome because I work there. Wow, this is on the first page of Google. And the third one, rang head office to complain and said our driver has gone above and beyond. This is on the home page of Google. So check out, if you haven't looked at your own review recently, have a little look. The only time anybody ever talks to me about Google My Business is when they ring up and say, June, we've got a bad review, what can we do about it? And the answer is nothing. You need to bury it with good. But it's worth having a look at. The other thing to look at, where you've got Pallet Force Limited at the top there, it wouldn't hurt to have logistics next to it if that's one of their keywords. Google Alerts is handy. It's like the world's biggest press clipping service. Again, another free tool. So for example, I have a Google Alert set up for Google algorithm. So if it appears in the news on any news site, I get an email sent through to me. So here, this is triggered by Google algorithm. I have 3 pieces of information there, goes into my email at 7 o'clock in the morning. I read them, think that's not it, that's not, oh, that one's quite interesting. I copy and paste it, share it on LinkedIn, early doors, I am the voice of Google. So in terms of looking what's going on in your world, nice to have a Google algorithm about your own name, your competitor's name, or your industry. Just feeds you information. It's great for social media. Google Search Console for the geeks amongst us, anybody that's really geeky. Google Search Console is really interesting, another free tool, and it will tell you what people are actually searching for when they find your website. And most of the time, people find me by putting in my mustard. I want them to find me by putting in Google AdWords agency, Google AdWords training, but it's good to know how well we're doing. YouTube, if you haven't got video content, get some. If you've got video content, make sure it's on YouTube. YouTube is owned by Google. It's the second biggest search engine in the world after Google, and all of the same keyword arguments apply. Make sure you label up your videos. It's the only thing we ever want to do, and don't make them too long. The first thing people look at, they've done lots of heat map experimentation. The first thing people look at on a video is how long it is. And we've got an attention span of about 40 seconds. So make it short and snappy. But tell me what you want to tell me early doors, and then repeat it at the end of your video as well. Make sure it's on YouTube, and then you can import it into your website. Social media, Google loves social media because there's millions of pages of keyword-rich, unique content. So if you're not on social media, get on social media. It's not a case of the new thing. It's actually the old thing now. It's the established thing. But do one and do it really well. As Lady said earlier, I think a couple of your colleagues here are doing really well on LinkedIn. If you're B2B, own LinkedIn. If you're B2C, own Facebook or Instagram, depending on your demographic. But do one and do it really well. And don't forget Twitter. It's noisy and it's where people go for a fight, but it's actually quite accurate in terms of getting people engaged. Thank you for listening. If you don't do anything else from this, look at your keywords. Have a little look at whether those keywords actually appear on your homepage, giving Google half a chance of finding you. Get Google Analytics, and if you've got it already, get rid of your own behavior. Try something on social media and do it really well first, and make sure your Google My Business listing is up to date and doesn't say anything poor about it. Here endeth the lesson. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Could you stop sharing your screen? Firstly, a huge round of applause to June. That was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. June has about 5 minutes of questions. Does anyone have any questions for June? No, she just blew you all away. Sure, Malka.
I have a question. So I've been recognizing, due to the help of this networking group, that I get to be more niche-y. And so I was wondering about that. You showed what people were searching for, June. And I'm working on figuring out how to do that. Like, our beer is very niche-y already, but what I do as a sales and leadership coach, especially since in the market here, it's what I do is very different. So how would I guess, long story short, how would I actually find out what people are looking for, so then I can at least decide, am I looking for something to give people what they're already looking for? Or am I going to niche in something and then just build that out and create a need instead of finding a need? So between those two.
That's a really good question. You're a leadership coach, weren't you? I think I've got down on my notes. So
sales systems, leadership coach, yeah.
Okay, so I think there's two things here. I think you need to nail what people are looking for and make sure Google has a fighting chance of finding you. If you want to create a market, I think social media can help you. And I think you need to do it almost like a two-pronged approach. If you give me an email, my email address is june@mymustard.co.uk. You drop me a line with your current website, I can do a bit of keyword research and tell you what people are searching for using the keywords you've got at the moment.
Sure. And I had a few people reach out asking, I hear you're a sales coach, and they reached out to our company. But that's the thing is, we're 160 years old, but our marketing is not 160 years old because we're based on door to door. So it's the tried and true. And now they're upping social media. So I'm doing that privately here. But actually in the UK, we're SBR, Southwestern Business Resources, and we have a pretty big reputation there. Actually, that's where we signed like Google and L'Oreal and all those big deal ones. So, but anyway,
I'll send it in. Yeah, send it over to me, and I can tell you what people are searching for in that arena. And even if it might very well be way down the list. There might be 40 people looking for something really, really niche that you go, hold on a second, how can I use that intel and put it all over social media?
Yeah. My boyfriend's Israeli, and we were talking about just got to look for. There's probably only 1,400 early adapters in this country. So how to find those people, and that will be enough to build a business on. So
exactly right. That's you're starting the conversation rather than joining it in the middle of Act 2. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
I think both. I think that would serve you well.
I like that. Cool. Thank you. I will send an email.
Any more questions? Yeah, sure, Laura.
Like to ask, hi, it was amazing. I love your sense of humor. I love the speed, the way you talk, and your pitch, and the way, you just kept me on my toes the whole time. So just got a question for you. You said Wix isn't strong with keywords. Why is that?
Because Wix looks pretty, and Flash used to look pretty. And Google doesn't really respond to pretty, it responds to keyword. You just have to work a little harder. If you've got a Wix site, or you're a graphic designer, why am I talking to you? My God.
Look, I'm a graphic designer, although actually my own graphic design site is actually Adobe Portfolio.
Okay. Now you're talking.
How do the keywords work there? Do you know?
Again, they should work in the same way. So if you go into your CMS system, when you put in your content, if you're writing a new page, you put your headline in your H1 tag and you type all your content, you'd upload the pictures. There will be somewhere there that will talk about either meta, meta title and description, or SEO title and description. And that's where you really need to work hard. Make sure that there's something in there, because you can have a website where there's nothing in and Google just panics and goes, I can't show you nothing, so I'll grab what's in Leora's page and chuck it in there, which is fine if you've got it right in your page. But if you haven't, you're just doubling down on the same error. But again, happy to have a little look. It's not, I shouldn't diss Wix. When someone says Wix, I go, ooh. When someone says WordPress, I go, Google because WordPress is fundamentally a blog, and blogs are based on words, and Google likes words. So I shouldn't make you. I'll have a look at your website. What's your email address? What's your website address, Leora?
It's leorabloom.com.
My
full name.com.
Okay, now I'll have a little nose and tell you what Google sees and go from there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for your feedback.
Karen, yes.
Okay, hi June.
Hi.
So you're probably not going to be my biggest fan, but I have to tell you, I'm a Wix designer. I'm a Wix partner, and yes, I have to tell you that Wix has done a tremendous amount to really, really up their SEO, and I would love to just chat with you offline and tell you more about that, because there's some things that may very much surprise you, and I'm really excited to, kind of shed light on a little bit.
Happy to be challenged, absolutely, Karen. Thank you. That's great.
But just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah,
it's Wix recently. I have sites that rank so high on for like some of the first search keywords that beyond, it's really, really amazing.
Okay, but I'll stand corrected. Happy to be challenged. Thanks, Karen.
Dahlia, did you have a question? Dahlia, you're on mute.
Hi, sorry. Thanks, June. It was really fascinating. Taken loads of notes, and we'll go through them. I just have two issues. I don't know if I missed this part because I had to go for 1 minute and then came back, but there was, what do you think about Google ads, like paying per click? I understood that from now on it was a kind of a thing of the past, and now Google is much more AI, and you don't even need to bother with that kind of stuff. But then again, I do see some of my competitors always there at the top. And then there's the kind of the evaluation whether it's worth it or not. That was one question. And my second question is about actually having, if you've got any insight in actually having a phone number on the website. Like during COVID now, we went from having our office number to actually just putting directly my mobile phone number, so that when I was at home, I was actually getting phone calls, to actually thinking, well, maybe we should just take off the phone number completely, just have emails and just letting people email. We have international clients from all over the world. And so I was recently just looking at loads of different websites, and sometimes you just can't even get to a phone number. So maybe it's just a thing of the past to have a phone number. And I just wanted to know, like, your thought about that.
I think they're really good. If I can answer them in reverse order, I, as a consumer, now I appreciate I'm a 53-year-old woman, I sometimes just want to talk to someone. I do. I don't want live chat. I don't want an email. I don't want to fill in the form. I don't want to watch a video. I don't want to download right now. I just want to talk to a human being. And I have an emotional response if I cannot do that. Ticketmaster, the biggest ticket event place in the world, you cannot speak to a human being. And it actually changes my buying behavior. So I think you should always have a phone number. Always. I do. That's me being a consumer. In terms of AdWords, sometimes it's a bit more difficult, like say in the world of COVID, had to have a mobile number. But even if you had a mobile number and say, this is not manned all the time, but please leave a message and we'll call you back. So as long as my expectations are managed, I understand that the office number is not going to be useful at the moment because people aren't in offices, but just tell me what I can expect. And again, if Ticketmaster said, we will get back to you within 72 hours, I wouldn't be happy. I'd be happier than making it impossible for me to talk to somebody. AdWords, I must declare a bias. It's what my business is based on. We spent £4 million with Google last year on behalf of our clients, and they would not spend that money if they didn't get a return. It's not the only game in town, that's for sure. So we work with people, and again, this is not a sales pitch at all. We work with people that have got clients that are looking online from Google, so search clients, for example, and lawyers. I've got 4 lawyers that are paying for Google AdWords. I've got a family lawyer, I've got a commercial lawyer, I've got a criminal lawyer, and I've got a wills and probate lawyer. I've got some people that are doing advertising on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, because their tribes they found are there as well. But it's advertising, Dahlia. Does that make sense? It's just, you could advertise in the local paper, you could advertise on radio, cinema, TV, but it is advertising. I think Google have almost priced themselves out of the market because you only got 4 slots now. That's what you've got. But in terms of return on investment, not last year because I haven't done the figures for 2020, but in 2019, we spent £4 million, and the things I can actually generate is for every pound they spent with us, we got them £20 back, and that is always going to be a decent ROI. So you only need one person, even if you're paying £20 a click for a lawyer, if that turns into a £2,500, £3,000, £4,000, £5,000 worth of work, that's still a decent ROI. So I think
in Israel is a bit of a problem. We've got 8,000 lawyers here, so for 1 to every 8 people, there's a lawyer. So it's not.
God. Okay.
So lawyer is like probably the most expensive. It's probably probably the worst word to put into the key. Yeah.
That's really. Let me have a look. That's interesting. If the market is that crowded, maybe rather than being 7,999, maybe you need to go. I'll tell you what. I'm going to go and carve something out on Twitter. Let me have a little nose, and I'll drop you a line with some ideas. No pressure.
Awesome. Thank you so much, June. Another round of applause for June. That was fantastic.
Thank you. Lovely to meet you all.
You have to dash off there, June. Thank you so much. June, I do have everyone's details. I'll email them to you as well after the meeting so you can do your LinkedIn stalking. I'm going to put you now into breakout rooms for the second time. I apologize. Some people were coming and going, so there's been a bit of a mishmash with the breakout rooms. But for the third one, if there's anybody you haven't been with yet, you want to be with, you will be for the third one. So don't panic. It's now 11:20, so I'll bring you out at 11:30. June, thank you so much. Do you need to finish off now?
Yeah, I'm afraid I do. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic.
No, thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity. Lovely people. And I love the lady that works for Wix. I love being challenged.
As you
That's
were
good.
saying it, I was like, shit.
Oh, no, I'm really happy because you know what? I don't know what I don't know, do I? Do you know what I mean? I'm doing this all day long. I've never met anybody that works that loves Wix. So that's great. So I'm educated. So that's fine. Absolutely fine by me. Thank you again, lovely. Have a wonderful break. I know it's not going to be over this end of the pond, but have a lovely break and we'll catch up in the new year. Thanks again, darling.
Thank you so much. Have a great one.
Thanks, lovely. Bye.
Oh, I have therapy. Hi.
Hey.
Laura, how you doing?
Good.
Which one, Leo or Leora?
Okay.
Leo, where were you living in Italy?
I used to live in Milan.
Ah, fantastic. Okay, great. And how long were you in Israel for?
I moved here actually from Moscow because this is where I lived for the last 3 years. I've been 7 years in Milan, then 3 years in Moscow, and in March I moved here. Yeah.
And whereabouts are you living?
In Netanya.
Fantastic. You happy to be back?
Hmm?
You happy to be back in Israel?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. I just landed into this crazy Corona time, so it's a big change for me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How long were you in
Why
Moscow?
did you come back, Leo?
Huh?
Why did you come back to Israel?
I have a newborn, not newborn, it's like a year and 3 now, boy, and it was important for me that he will know his family, big family.
You're originally from Israel, right?
Yeah.
And your partner is Israeli?
My parents here, they live in Netanya, Israelis. Yeah.
Leora, how are you doing? How's your week been?
My week has been very good because we went to Eilat and we swam with, not with dolphins, but we swam, it was amazing. We just had so much swimming time. The weather was amazing, warm. The water was warm. We were in the water for hours. We saw all the fish, it was just out of this world. And I'm a big sea person, so I was very happy to have that, that time off. So that's been great. Yeah.
I've just booked.
And I told Lior I'm probably going to be, I'm not sure for sure yet, but working with Malka to do, so this group has been really great for me because, there's been a lot of opportunity here that I've really been enjoying. So
yeah, I'm also hoping to go to Eilat. We just booked to go to Eilat in January. I'm really excited.
Well, it's amazing.
Yeah, so cheap as well. It's crazy cheap.
Oh, okay. Well, what I can say is that I always have at least one day in the Dolphin Reef because I just love the whole vibe there, and it's so beautiful, and all the trees and the peacocks walking around, and quiet. And my daughter's going into the army next week, so she's absolutely hysterical about Corona, and she doesn't want to get sick because she's been given a nice job in the army that she doesn't want to miss. And she doesn't want to get sick and come home. So, so we had to stay away from everyone when we were there. So we weren't allowed, we had to sit in a place. So that basically at the Dolphin Reef, it was good because we were, completely isolated.
What job is she got?
She's going to be teaching Krav Maga.
Awesome, that's so exciting.
Yeah, she's very, very happy about that. She loves Krav Maga. She did it all of high school. Both my girls do. So
awesome.
It's an amazing sport. It's an amazing mindset.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Where will she be based?
She's going to be at Wingate.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
And she'll be teaching who, like the Chayalim?
She's going to be teaching Chayalim, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so it's great. It's really good.
Leo, were you alone?
I'm sorry?
No, Leo. Leo, the instructor.
I went with my husband and 2 daughters.
Somehow my partner was disconnected herself.
Sorry about that. I'm sorry.
That's confusing. Leo, and Leo.
Yeah, it's very, very confusing at this point. Who are you with?
I was with Nikki Kagan.
Yeah, okay. Okay, cool. Leo, have you done networking before?
I'm a part of BNI.
Yeah, I thought so. You have the good networking, right? Fantastic. Which group do you do?
Modine.
Ah, fantastic. Is it good? It works for you, I'm guessing.
It has. I've been there for 4 years already. I just renewed for my 5th year. Doing it in English is different, to be honest.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Our insurance agents always do really well in networking just because everyone is insurance agents. So I feel like it's
no, but it's not automatically if you're an insurance agent. You have to be trustworthy. You have to
yeah,
be.
of course. No, but
We've had other agents in the group who have not been loyal, have not been good.
Really?
And it takes a while until you build trust.
Yeah, thank God all seem to be. Yeah, they've all done well in our groups, but they're all really nice people also, so I guess that helps.
How many members are in your group here?
What do you mean, sorry?
How many groups are in ESN Herzliya? How many members are you in the group?
About 15 members here, and yeah, growing always, basically. Welcome back, everybody. So I'd love to do one more breakout room, but before I do that, if I could just ask some of the members maybe to say what they've gained from ESN. Leo, do you want to start with it?
Not really, but I will. Okay, I have gained a lot, and I've just been telling everyone so much about it. That's the only reason I didn't want to repeat myself. Yes, on the first day that I was a guest here, I signed a contract for work that lasted me for about 2 weeks, which was really great. I did a PowerPoint presentation for someone and helped them to increase their awareness and be able to sell themselves to a company overseas. So that was great. And I am hopefully signing up with someone on the group to be, well, with a few people in the group for a few of their services, and that's very helpful for my business. And yeah, and it's just been good hearing what other people are doing and how other people are actually coping through this very difficult time.
Fantastic, great. And Malka?
Yeah, so what I've gotten from this group, and Leah asked me on our breakout room, is I've been able to help change the lives of 5 people, at least because of this group, so 5 new clients. I've also gotten from this group is it's very convenient that the guests that Helena puts time into picking out are things that I know are important, but I haven't made the time to reach out and educate myself on email marketing and social media. So it's been really great to actually have some things that how I want to be approaching this market in Israel versus America differently. So that's also something great to get from it. And also the people, I think people here want to grow their business. So of course that's great for me as a sales coach, but it's also an opportunity for reciprocative referrals because it's giver's gain or such like that. So I think if you're proactive in asking someone to network and introduce business, then the people here get that that's what they've signed up for. And and so it's really nice reciprocation.
Awesome. And Karen?
I didn't meet myself. Yeah, it's been great. I've been able to, like Leora said, already collaborate with a few people in this group, sign up for services, and just exposure I think is really cool, right? By, being able to have connected to different people here and have other people talk about my services. Definitely been helpful in growing, like my network, both like on social media and in general. So yeah, just excited to see. And it's always great to there's always new people coming in. So I feel like we're meeting so many cool, interesting people all the time, which is great.
Fantastic. Okay, great. So I'm now going to open the breakout rooms. It's now 11:35. So we'll open these and then give you about 10 minutes here to 11:45 and then we'll close the meeting. So